Welcome to the Calexico City Council, Calexico Redevelopment Successor Agency, Calexico Finance Authority regular meeting agenda. Wednesday, August 4th, 2021, it is 6:33 p.m. We're on the regular session today, call to order. Due to the, let me do the roll call. Roll call, Council Member Garcia. Here. Council Member Romo.
Here.
Council Member Arreola Fernandez. Absent. Council Member Ureña. Absent. Mayor Javier Moreno. Here. Due to the declaration of emergency, this meeting is being held pursuant to authorization from the Governor's executive orders. Some or all of the City Council members may participate in this meeting by teleconference as authorized by the Executive Order N-2920 issued by the Governor of California on March 17, 2020. Pursuant to the Imperial County Public Health Department guidelines, City Council meetings are now open for public attendance at 100% capacity of the council chambers, and all persons entering City Hall will be required to wear a face mask. Public participation will continue to be available in the following ways. Members of the public are encouraged to watch the meeting via live stream at HTTP Community Spectrum ORG live at 6:30 p.m. or via the Calexico City Hall Facebook page at https://www.facebook.com City of Calexico CA. Members of the public will be able to make public comments in the following ways. 1, in person. 2, submit public comments via email by 2 p.m. on Wednesday, August 4th, 2021, to our city clerk, Gigi Garcia at calexicoca.gov, or via fax at 760-768-2103. These comments will be read aloud during the meeting. Can you please stand up for a pledge of allegiance? Mr. Garcia, can you join lead us in the pledge of allegiance?
Sure. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I will lead for the mission statement pledge.
Ready? Begin. Together, we pledge to provide effective and efficient services in a courteous and respectful manner to improve the quality of life for all in our unique border community. Viva Calexico.
Councilwoman Romo, can you do us the invocation?
Thank you. Padre misericordioso, te damos gracias por este día, Señor. Te damos gracias por estar en este momento, en esta reunión de Cabildo, donde ponemos todo en tus manos. Muy especialmente pongo a la comunidad de Calexico y de todo el condado del Valle Imperial para que se encuentren bien de salud, tengan lo necesario y que no les falte su casa, su vestido y su sustento. Todo te lo pedimos en el nombre de tu Hijo Jesucristo. Amén.
Amen. Thank you. Please be seated. Approve the agenda. I make motion to approve the agenda. So move. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you. We now have presentations. Make the record reflect that Mr. Raul Ureña is joining us tonight.
Okay.
It is
Hi, welcome.
6:43. Welcome, Mr. Ureña. So we have presentations. The first one, it's going to be in recognition presented to the Imperial Irrigation District for their 110th anniversary. Do we have a representative from ID, I believe? Mr. Martinez? And then Mr. Gonzalez, are you going to join us? Yeah. Okay. And for this, I would like the City Council members to join me, as well as Mr. Figueroa and City Clerk. Carlos, I'll read the recognition.
Okay.
Out loud.
Javi.
Okay. So wait for me to help you. Okay, so it is, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So it is great pleasure for me as mayor of Calexico, along with my cohorts, City Council Member Garcia, City Council Member Ureña, City Councilwoman Romo, and also City Councilwoman Ariola Fernandez, who is not here today, to issue this certificate of recognition for their 110th anniversary. And it reads like this: Imperial Irrigation District, in recognition of 110 years of commitment, dedication, and service to our community, on behalf of the City of Calexico and its residents, we thank you and congratulate all of the members of your organization who have contributed to your success during the past 110 years. Congratulations. So on behalf of the ID and on behalf, you're going to receive this on behalf of the City of Calexico, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
This is.
Javier.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, señor.
Muchas gracias. Gracias.
Once again, thank ID for their 110th year accomplishment. So we now have a presentation by the Calexico Housing Authority. The presentation is by Executive Director, Ms. Sari Nava. How you doing, Ms. Nava? Thank you tonight. The floor is yours.
Is this on? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Moreno, members of the council, audience, and Mr. Figueroa. Thank you for inviting us to provide you with an update on the Housing Authority of the City of Calexico. We have prepared a brief presentation for you, so I'll just go through the slides, and at the end, there's room for questions. Okay? So first of all, I'd like to start with explaining to you the mission of the Housing Authority. And our mission is to provide clean, affordable, quality housing, quality housing, improving the standard of living for the population we serve. Next slide, please. Our Board of Commissioners is comprised of 7 members. The responsibility of the board is to take care of policy, fiscal management, and the appointment of the executive director. Our board is comprised of 5 commissioners with a 4-year term and 2 commissioners with a 2-year term who are considered resident commissioners who must also live within the Housing Authority. Per Health and Safety Code, Section 34271, board members are appointed by the mayor of the City of Calexico. Housing authorities are independently run, and day-to-day operations are overseen by the executive director. Our current board members are Ms. Carla Flores, chairman of the board, who is present tonight, Mr. Carlos Roldan, our vice chair, Mr. Mario Acevedo, Ms. Margaret Sousa, and Mr. Juan G. Villarreal. And we currently have 2 vacant seats that I believe is on your agenda for appointments tonight. Sorry, I haven't done a presentation in a long time. The Housing Authority was organized in 1946. On July 1st of 1987, the Housing Authority of the City of Calexico was established and became a separate entity from the Imperial Valley Housing Authority. The Housing Authority is an independent agency governed by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and while the Housing Authority's name might lead you to think that we're part of the municipal government, we are not. It simply refers to the geographic area that we serve, which is the City of Calexico. Who funds us? Our funds are mainly from the Department of Housing and Urban Development, better known as HUD. And I also look for grants to assist our residents in providing, do you mind if I take this off?
Sure.
I'm not-
Yeah.
It's hard to breathe and speak so much. So we are funded mainly by HUD, our federal funds we receive. And we also, I write grants for the agency to help with rental assistance. Our last grant that we received was through the County of Imperial, the HEAP, which is Housing Emergency Assistance Program, and it helped over 30 families pay their rent during the COVID time. Our current budget for the Housing Authority is approximately $4.2 million. Our portfolio is comprised of multifamily housing, single-family dwellings, apartment complexes, and what we consider SROs, or a motel, a single-room occupancy. Sorry. I'm going to look at my paperwork here.
Sure.
Sorry. So the Housing Authority has a portfolio of 261 housing units. Public housing was established to provide decent and safe rental assistance to those eligible with low-income families, the elderly, and disabled. Public housing comes in all sizes and types, from scattered single-family houses to high-rise apartments for various, we have for the elderly, but actually we have families in our high-rises as well. And our high-rises are comprised of two-story homes in Calexico. Next slide, Gabby. We just wanted to share the sites with you. We have 7 sites in Calexico in public housing, and the sites, the way HUD describes our sites, is that we are a scattered housing authority. The new term for the projects, which is no longer a term used in housing, is developments. So we have 7 developments in our scattered site portfolio. So the first one is Rockwood Homes, located on 7th, Doolin, and Cenas Avenues. The next one is Heber Homes, and they're located on Ollie, Birch, Harold, and Roosevelt. The next site is H.W. Going Homes, and they're on Andrade, Beach, 4th, and 5th Streets. Higuera Homes on McKinley, Sheridan, Higuera, and Edie Avenues. Casas del Sol were 50 homes that were built as part of the portfolio for the Housing Authority, providing housing to our low-income families. And in 2004, HUD converted those units into home ownership homes, so units. So what we did is, that was before my time, but what we're continually doing is we're selling those units to persons who live in the properties, and if they're not interested in purchasing the property for whatever reason, they're giving first priority. They are transferred out into another public housing development, and that unit is sold. Due to COVID, we had to stop the sale, and we have 6 units that are left, and once the COVID issue is lifted and we're able to transfer these families, we will be selling the balance of those units. Next is the Willie Moreno apartments, or homes, I'm sorry, on Nosotros, Adler, and Sheridan. Escalante Plaza, which is located on Rockwood Avenue. And those are the 7 scattered sites for public housing. The next item that you have, that you see, is the Section 8 vouchers. We have been tasked to give out 261 vouchers to applicants at this Housing Authority of the City of Calexico. And the vouchers are, they're they're not used like public housing. The voucher is provided to a low-income family, then the family is tasked to go find their house or their apartment to live in. There are some regulations that landlords have to pass, and then they also must meet rental guidelines. With these vouchers, if anyone is issued a Section 8 voucher, they can live anywhere in the United States. I also wanted to share with you the meaning or definition of affordable housing, which means to provide safe, sanitary housing to those whose income is below the median household income. And I also inserted for you what the 2021 income limit documentation system is used in all housing programs throughout the United States. And just as an example, a family who's considered very low medium income at 50% of medium income, a family of one cannot exceed the income of $24,400. A family of two is $27,900, and so on and so forth. We do have extremely low, which is 30% of medium income, and those families are honestly the poorest of the poor. So those are families that we assist as well. So I provided that just for knowledge, for future knowledge for you, that the city also has housing programs, and these are also the limits that we use. So in our affordable housing portfolio, we have the Villa Sur Motel that's located on 4th Street. We have 39 units, and those are considered SROs, single room occupancy units. So there's no kitchen, just the one bedroom with the bathroom. I am currently working on an application through the multifamily housing program, requesting funds to do a complete modernization of that corner motel, making it more affordable to our tenants and providing some subsidy and bringing everything up to code. The next item is the Calexico Garden Apartments, and the reason that Calexico Gardens is not a part of public housing is because it's a different funding source through HUD, but it's through the multifamily housing program. So there's a little bit of a difference in how people qualify for that program, but we have 39 units on that property. 38 of them are 3 bedrooms, and one of them is a 2-bedroom unit. So on our waiting list, the public housing, we actually update our waiting list every month, and this is what we have from July 30th. So in public housing, we have 484 families. On Section 8, we have 442 families. Multifamily, we have 95 families. And at the Villa Sur Motel, we have 36 families. So as you can see, there is a great need in the city of Calexico with over 1,000 families on our waiting list at the Housing Authority.
Wow.
At this time, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about our performance, financial and physical. I take great pride in what I do, and I love my job at the Housing Authority. So at the Housing Authority, when I started, I started in December of 2015, and the audit that was provided for us in 2016 was not a very favorable audit. So having started right at the end of the close of the fiscal year, we got to task, and my staff and I have a great team of employees. I just want to share with you that in 2017, 18, 19, and 20, we have had no findings in any of our audits, and I take a lot of pride. It takes a lot of hard work, and your staff to be very dedicated to doing what they're doing. We have the Real Estate Assessment Center, which is called REACT, is a physical inspection of the Housing Authority public developments. The Housing Authority has maintained a high performer score, and the reason this is important is so that you know that our units are being maintained in a safe and sanitary manner. And if you maintain a high performer score, HUD doesn't come every year to check your units, they come every 3 years. So for us, it's a plus, and the staff continues to maintain those units in a health and safety manner. The Section 8 Management Assessment Program, which is called CMAP, measures the performance of the public housing agencies that administer the housing choice vouchers, and they have 14 key areas that they note for us, and our scores have been passing since I began with the Housing Authority. the Public Housing Assessment System, the FOS, the score of the physical, financial management, and capital fund areas, the Housing Authority has also maintained a high performer score for the past 6 years. Now, speaking a little bit on financials, aside from the audits, the overall insurance premiums at the Housing Authority have maintained a pretty even kill, but I am very proud to tell you that since my inception with the Housing Authority, our premiums have decreased by 40%. So that's a big plus. And on the next slide, yes. On the next slide, I just wanted to share with you kind of a little chart, that shows the years of performance. And it's kind of hard to see because it's on black. I should have done it in a different color. I apologize. But it's all the different things I just spoke to you about. And they go from year 2020 to 2019, 2016, and 2015 that shows how we've kept an even keel and a good performance in everything. And then the last 4 columns are from right to left are when we started with workers' comp in 2015. When I started with the agency, we were way over the top, and now we have brought down our workers' comp. We have 0 injuries that have been reported in the last 3 years. I'd like to tell you a little bit about my staff and myself. As the executive, I am the executive director, and my assistant is Maria Sam. Our finance director, who is present tonight, Mr. Juan Ortiz, and Ruth Ramirez is the finance analyst. Our housing department administrative assistant is Fernanda Marquez, and our public housing program senior property manager is Lupita Hernandez, also present. And Cristina Rojas is our caseworker. Housing Choice Voucher Section 8 program manager is Lupita Zamudio. Our affordable housing caseworkers, Marisela Navarrete. Our capital fund program facility management, Mr. Diego de Arco, director of physical improvements, and he oversees a staff of 5 management members. At this time, I'd like to thank my staff for their continued hard work and dedication to the housing community within the city of Calexico. And I'd also like to thank our Board of Commissioners who, without your support, guidance, and ensuring our agency continues to follow policy, procedure, and financial stability, we wouldn't be in the great shape that we are. I want to thank the City Council for your time, and I'm open to questions if you have any.
Thank you, Ms. Nava, for your very enlightening presentation, comprehensive presentation as well. I think we all agree it was overdue. I had no clue what Housing Authority they did, and you do a lot for this community. So thank you on behalf of the city of Calexico. Rather than asking questions, I think it would be proper to make comments because we reserve the time, maybe some other time, because questions tend to go different routes. So I think it's fair to make comments. Unless anybody have any comments?
Comments and probably questions also. And again, I echo Mayor Moreno's, words. That actually this was long overdue. Even before coming to council, I remember that I used to sit in the audience, and I never saw a presentation from the Housing Authority. So I'm happy that you're here, and thank you for the work that you do to the board of directors also. One of the things that I see here, of course, there's a huge need for housing, affordable housing, or any type of housing, right? Because of just looking at the numbers of the waiting list, and so that goes without saying that the need is there. So, a few things. Your funding. You talk about working on grants. Is there a specific funding that you get as an allocation from HUD annually, or is always competitive?
The allocations that we receive from HUD are to maintain the programs that we currently have, which are the public housing developments, the Section 8 program, and Calexico Gardens. Everything else that we need or to develop any properties that we have we have to apply, and it's very competitive.
Okay, so it's competitive.
Yes.
Okay,
I'm
so
sorry, I didn't want to go the long way, but
yeah, no. I mean, just to better understand, because it's gonna lead me to another question. So again, we know the need. What are the plans? And we know this competitive, but what are the plans to continue to expand or continue to create housing units or housing for all these individuals? Because from what I see, unless we create more housing, what we're doing pretty much is waiting for someone to leave so someone else can take the spot, right? But we're not creating any new housing. So are there any plans that, probably going after more monies, partnering with other agencies besides HUD, private sector, other type of investors? What is the work? What is the Housing Authority and the board, thinking about, addressing those needs?
the Housing Authority, we've applied for several grants, and we haven't been funded, unfortunately. And like I said, it is very competitive. We have a property on the corner of Grant and Edie that we want to construct 24 to 26 one-bedroom units, because that's what we lack in the city of Calexico is one-bedroom units. However, I will say that the city of Calexico is the one that is tasked to meet their regional housing needs assessment. I'm happy to meet with any of you and go over maybe some type of a partnership with the direction of my board, of course, and work together to see what we can do. I will continue to seek funding to build, but the only property that we own is the property on the corner of Grant and Edie.
Yeah, and that was going to be my follow-up question also, because just last week we had a planning commission meeting, and they were talking about the housing element, updating and working on that. So that would discuss at length, on the different housing needs that exist in our community. So I would like to see, more engagement between, city manager, between, the housing, that commission, the planning commission, and also in the process, if we can, sit down and plan, or be part of the strategy on the housing, element, because I think we're trying to tackle that need. And what I don't want to see is that we are kind of like working on our own silos, right? I mean, it is great. We're trying to meet that need. But, I think if we work together, if we pool resources, I think it can be a more effective approach. That's not to say that this is not effective. But I think the more that we partner, I mean, right now, as we know, and we've known this for, forever, that resources are very scarce. But if we can partner, we can, get to the table, work on a cohesive and plan that, includes all the different entities that are here, not just city, housing authority, maybe CBOs also. You mentioned all this, having all on your staff people that work on Section 8 vouchers. So maybe also IBCCC that addresses the needs of housing with the homeless. All those entities, I think we need to do a list of partnerships that we can bring to the table, that we can go after grants, after monies that can address specific needs for housing, for specific sectors, or for all. So not leave any opportunity out there. And that's just what I'm hoping that we can, start that partnership and sit down at the table.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you for your time and thank you for the presentation.
Thank
Very
you
enlightening.
very much.
Mr. Ureña?
Yeah, just one very brief question on the Section 8 housing vouchers. So very recently there's been some law changes for accessible dwelling units, where in private residence it's much easier as of, I believe, 2018 or 2020, for anyone that has a single family home to create a little studio apartment, either separately or outside of or from their garage. Would those kinds of units be eligible for Section 8 vouchers?
They are not at this time. I can do some more research for you so that I don't misinterpret some, because I think what I'm hearing is, are we able to provide Section 8 vouchers for someone who has a single room occupancy in a garage? And currently we cannot. But I will look into the changes and speak to our Section 8 manager and see what we have.
Okay. Second question on Section 8 vouchers. I know in the private market, and this is my concern is, across the nation, not just our city, there's a lot of discrimination from private landlords towards Section 8 vouchers, and sometimes, obviously, there's more Section 8 vouchers than landlords willing to take Section 8. What can the city of Calexico do to address that problem?
I'll be very honest with you, we don't have that problem in the city of Calexico. We have a very cohesive group of landlords, and we've been very fortunate. Unfortunately, the housing market is very low at this time. We have a lot of people renting. There's seasons that we have people coming for whatever reasons, whether it's agriculture or whatever, to rent. So that limits what we have available, but we don't have that problem with our landlords in Calexico. We're very fortunate.
Oh, that's good.
Thank you, Ms. Urania. Ms. Romo?
Thank you.
Thank you. In my opinion, we need more information from our administrator. Therefore, I would like to ask the Mayor Javier Moreno to have a joint meeting between the City Council and the Housing Authority commissioners. And maybe in September or October, whatever, it's very important work together, Ms. Nava.
I agree.
I like, it's possible, meeting?
This actually, Councilwoman Romo, is a great opportunity, as the executive director is sharing, where we could potentially explore maybe a two-on-two, where we can get in sync on a lot of the work that's being done, both on the city's end and the housing authority side, so we can catch up, as it was brought up by the Mayor Pro Tem right now, because we have our housing portfolio projects that may more than likely fulfill a lot of the items that are being raised tonight. So I think it's in good faith that we seek some of these opportunities to have a closer communication channel. So absolutely, upon the direction of my governing body, I would be more than happy to initiate that.
So I'd like to, thank you, Ms. Romo. So I'd like to piggyback on that. I know Mr. Ureña is very, very, very interested in housing in Calexico. So I would extend, Mr. Figueroa, the offer to have Mr. Ureña join us in that endeavor, meet with the Housing Authority's private meeting, and then we'll come back and give an update. Will you agree with that, Mr. Ureña?
I agree, happily so. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? No? Thank you. Thank you for your
the
presentation.
opportunity. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Buenas
Thank you.
noches.
Okay, moving on to item 3, and that's me. So as a follow-up to the Farm Workers Service Center, the update I have is that we're in the process of getting more information. The orthopedic clinic, I understand Mr. Figueroa they are negotiating with I think Dr. Calada, who's offered the property across the street potentially as a relocation.
What we know, Mayor, is that there is conversations between, at this point, the administrative group that oversees the clinic with the private physician, as you mentioned, in terms of exploring opportunities in which the program can continue the great work they do for that community in a place that's suitable for their current needs right now.
Correct. And also, as a Assembly Bill 941, excuse me, that's been co-authored by our Assembly member Eduardo Garcia, making it way up to the legislative chambers. Also, I know Mr. Ureña very voices about this sanitary conditions, and coming because we're heading up to November now, so we're kind of a time frame here. We're also going to. That happens, I believe the Catholic Charities has already raised their hands to potentially move into a location, and that'll also take care of, which you were so vicious in the past as far as having the sanitary conditions, and also when it gets cold, right, for this farm workers. So hopefully moving along, we're just waiting for this organization to probably possibly relocate. We have the funds available, I believe so, through AB 941. So I believe that's looking pretty good for us down here in Calexico.
Excellent. That's great news.
Thank you. And that's all I have. Moving up to item number 4, we have a bi-weekly COVID-19 update presentation by our Calexico Fire Department Captain Ainsa.
Good evening, council, city staff. My name is Eduardo Mesa. I'm a fire captain with the fire department here. I'll be filling in for Chief Avila with some of the metrics regarding COVID-19. As of today, the state has 18.3 cases per 100,000 people, bringing a positivity rate of 7.0. Here in Imperial County, we're looking at 10.1 cases per 100,000 people. Positivity rate of 6.1, so we're a little below the state average here in the county. In the past 3 weeks, that brings us to approximately 236 new cases and bringing us to 254 active cases. Our total so far in the county is 27,048. Here in Calexico, we have 89 active cases, bringing our total to 7,506 total cases, and we have had 235 deaths. Regarding the variants of concern, everyone's concerned about the Delta variant. So far in the county, we have seen small numbers. Since I think Chief Avila's last presentation 2 weeks ago, we're still in the single digits. Nothing too substantial as far as the increase. Do we have any specific questions?
I don't. Ms. Garcia? No? Anybody? No?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Have a nice evening.
So we're moving up to the announcements. These proceedings may be viewed on the City of Calexico website at www.calexicoca.gov the Friday following the City Council meeting. Community office hours with the Mayor Javier Moreno will be held by appointment Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. Please contact the City Clerk's office at 760-768-2102 to schedule an appointment. Public comments and public appearances, not to exceed 3 minutes. This is the time for the public to address the City of Council on any item not appearing on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City of Calexico. City Council. However, if the item you wish to comment on is on the consent item, please comment now. During the current state of emergency, public comments will be received in the following ways. Number 1, in-person comments. The mayor will recognize you, and when you come to the microphones, please state your name and place of residence for the record. While members of the public are encouraged to participate, it is unlawful to disturb or delay the council meeting with personal or slanderous remarks. Number 2, submit public comments via email by 2 p.m. on Wednesday, August 4th, 2021 to our city clerk at Gigi Garcia at calexicoca.gov or via fax to 760-768-2103. Any comments received during or after the meeting will be distributed to the City Council and retained for the official record. The City Council is prohibited by state law from making action or discussing items not intended on the printed agenda. I believe I have 2 public comments, Ms. Garcia? Yes, sir. Just 2? Thank you. Okay, so we're going to have first Carmen Estrada, followed by Mr. Javier Gonzalez. Is Carmen Estrada here? No?
Sí, salió ahí al baño.
Okay, maybe she'll come back in a minute. Mr. Gonzalez, do you have the floor?
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, members of the public, Javier Gonzalez, here again, Division 4. I want to thank the Mayor and Mrs. Romo for being there during the installation of the new child-friendly canal safety signs. I want to thank the Mayor for being there in closing out and reopening the Cloak Bridge. This concludes the work of the All-American Canal. All the fence holes have been covered. All the debris have been picked up, 2 truckloads full of debris. All the the All-American Canal is now closed, safe, and clean. Today, IID is still working on the 111 Central Main Canal. As you know, when you drive by, there used to be a sign right there that was like 15 years, all graffiti, it's gone. And they're cleaning up, as you know, you used to pass by there was a lot of brush, even cedar trees coming out, they're cleaning them up. I'm gonna focus on community things. We're very grateful that yesterday, the day before yesterday, I completed another reporting all street lights in Division 4, which is Calexico and South Heber. We found up to 30 broken lights. We've reported more than 300 since we came in. We thought it was going to be easier, but it's an old system. They keep on breaking. Every time they break, we're sad because it's dark, but we're glad that maybe they'll install LED. I'm glad that the city met with IID, and now we know that IID is in charge of fixing and changing the bulb. And if there's something on the ground in the electricity, that's the city of Calexico. Now, IID will start a new process where if you report a street light, they'll give you feedback as to the status. What I've been doing is I have to go and drive again 2-3 weeks, wait and go see if they're fixed it, and wonder what's happening. That's not going to happen anymore. The person that reports it will get a feedback and an update if it's fixed and why isn't it fixed. That's something new. Another thing that we're looking forward is there's probably a bipartisan bill for the infrastructure. IID reported it. We have a very, very great government affairs person. If this bill passes next week, it's 2,700 page bill. It includes 3 different parts. It's water, energy, and it's roads. IID will definitely apply to most of them, but we asked IID, Government Affairs Manager, to seek and see if these bills will cover the improvements of street lights in communities like Calexico. If they do, we will hope that IID can help us apply, or maybe IID can apply for Calexico and they do the work, they get paid for it. And this is something that our communities need to take very much into consideration. We saw the bridge, someone there, our bridges are in very old state, so if this bill passes, there's going to be a lot of funding up there, and we need to take advantage of that. Yes. On the AB 1020, tomorrow the IID Energy Commission will meet in Coachella. That's something that we're trying to do to avoid that bill 1021 pass, and that's basically it. We're working hard. We're trying to fix our city, and thank you very much for your support.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. So do we have Ms. Carmen Estrada here? She's our return, right? So let's skip her and we'll go to our next public comments from Matthew Zinn. Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Matthew Zinn. I am here with the Imperial County Stair Climb Committee to inform everybody of the upcoming stair climb on 9/11. I don't know whether many people know, but this year is the 20th anniversary of 9/11 attacks. The committee was formed in 2018 because when we first formed the stair climb, we were kind of having the local fire agencies take lead on it, but as you guys know, it's fire season, so it was really hard to do everything that needed to happen for everything. So we developed the stair climb committee, which has representatives from law enforcement, fire, IED, etc. So I'm here to inform you guys of that. The 9/11 stair climb is a way to pay tribute to the 343 fallen firefighters in climbing 110 floors, which equals 1,980 steps. As I mentioned before, the committee was developed in 2018. In 2018, we actually met our goal of getting all 343 firefighters climbed for. The next goal we have is to get 413 people climbed for, and that includes 60 law enforcement officers, 10 EMS. We hope we can get attendance from as many people as we can, including council members from each city. So yeah, I'm here to ask for your support, participation. It is $25 to register before August 28th and then $30 after. When you register, you get a t-shirt. We also had some awesome coins made to sell at the event to commemorate. And on our long-term goals, we actually have in the thought process right now about doing our own little memorial at the fairgrounds where it takes place. So we're kind of doing fundraising for that as well. Any questions?
I don't have anything.
Mr. Mayor, what I can do is I can take down Mr. Sin's contact information.
Sure.
So we can have a dialogue with my public safety departments and my personnel citywide, so we can see those that express interest so we can participate. So thank you very much.
No problem. I have forms here as well as sponsor letters and everything. To
Got
give
it.
you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Sen. Also, thank you for your service. So, Mrs. Estrada has returned. Okay. So now we move on to the city manager's report.
Mayor, members of the council, members of the committee, community that are following us today, I'm very happy to share a couple of things with all of you. One, Finance Director Carla Lovatos and I have created a blueprint of the American Rescue Plan Act eligible activities that we wish to engage the city of Calexico on. As we know, the city of Calexico is fortunate to receive $9.5 million in allocation as part of ARPA. We have created this blueprint of expenses that are allowed under the guidelines of ARPA that will benefit the community. The ultimate goal for us is to make sure that these monies address a lot of the needs that we have citywide, not only on the service that we give businesses, that we give residents, but also our departments here at the city. I am very happy to share that we've, in my consideration, have put together activities that fulfill those needs, and that I'll be happy to formally present to this council on August 18th. Without getting into further detail, some of the items that we will touch on will address some of the needs that we've heard loud and clear from our city workforce as it pertains to the services and duty that they provide on a day-to-day basis to the residents, to the businesses, and to us as employees. We're going to address some of the long-known needs on the public safety side. We're also going to address some of the informational technology infrastructure needs that the city is in dire need to improve, as well as citywide public facility infrastructure as well. So as you can tell from what I'm sharing, it's going to be a comprehensive package that we know it's not going to be the ultimate solution for all our needs, but are definitely going to assist. At the same token, I'll be having individual conversations with my department heads, because one of the components of ARPA that we believe is going to be of good use is that we'll be able to address the revenue loss component. With that, I mean the past 2 fiscal years we have been hand-tied because of the fiscal constraints we have in being able to implement everything that's been identified as some of the needs that our department heads bring to our attention, myself as a city manager and you as a city council during the budget process calendar. So we're going to be addressing some of those needs as well, which is good news. Leaving ARPA aside, I want to share with you that this week I had a meeting with the Imperial County Planning Director, Jim Minnick, to specifically discuss and go over the situation of the mobile home parks in the city of Calexico. We know that per policy, per statute, it's a responsibility that falls on the county of Imperial, but also there is a responsibility that we as a city, given that we house these mobile parks, that we need to undertake. So I think a prime example of what we're trying to accomplish is what we discussed right now with the Housing Authority. Let's make sure that those channels of communication are open so we can work to address those issues that stand out and that concern all of us. At this moment, I have given direction to my code enforcement team to specifically focus on items that Mr. Minnick and I have agreed upon. So from there, we can proceed with addressing some of the issues that we've heard loud and clear that need to be addressed. So that's continuing to move forward, and I'll be happy to continue to update the council as we make progress. One of the other items that I wish to report was, Ms. Romo, I have here on my notes that you brought up the situation about some public safety concerns at the former Holly's Hotel, which is now one of the affordable housing projects that actually was brought here through a state initiative that we partnered with a nonprofit to make sure that we brought back life and housing opportunities there. We've been engaging with the police department to address some of the concerns that have been raised. Police Chief Gerardo and Acting Chief at this moment, Lieutenant Jesus Serrano, have been in communication with me on some of the items that were brought up to make sure that we address that. But more importantly, we've been working hand in hand with the property owner. So we continue to address that matter that was not only brought to our attention at the last city council meeting, but that we also heard through our community. One of the items that Mayor Pro Tem Garcia brought up was the maintenance agreements that we have with the state, specifically with Caltrans, on some of the state intersections that are used to enter and exit Calexico, specifically 98 and 111. We've identified some maintenance agreements dating back to the 1960s. So what I'm having staff do is prepare an informational item that we will be bringing on August 18 to the City Council. One of the biggest things that I first wanted to address was to make sure that we captured all the agreements. In total, we have 5. So I want to make sure that we have a summary ready where we can go over the obligations that the state and the city has on those items. One of the things that my planning and building department is following up on is the actual ordinance that was adopted by the City Council almost a decade ago pertaining to heavy trucks running on cities where we actually have residential developments. That is also something, Pro Tem, that you brought to my attention. And at this moment right now, the analysis is being done so we can propose some recommendations to update that policy. Again, work is being done. We will follow up with you folks on that. One of the items also that was shared by Councilman Ureña and the Mayor Pro Tem was the fact of opportunities for grant writer services for the city of Calexico. This week I had the opportunity to engage on some correspondence with a grant writing consulting firm. So I'm going to be discussing, my executive assistant, Ms. Luna, is at this point setting up a meeting in which I'm going to have a conversation to put the elements that this council and myself are looking out for to see if it's something that they can offer. Based on that, and depending on the obligation, I'm going to make a determination if it's something feasible that I can come back and recommend to council. And obviously, if it merits for us to go into our procurement policy, that is something also that I'm going to weigh in. As it pertains to grant writer services, there is the opportunity for a lot of the municipalities in the state of California to work directly with some of these firms as long as the services meet a certain threshold. So once I have more information, once I sit down with them and talk, I'll be happy to come back and give you some specific recommendations. One of the other items that I do want to bring up is there was an item that was brought up as it pertained to the water bill notices for delinquent accounts. Ms. Lovatos, our finance director, and I and her team have been doing an assessment of the pending accounts that are still delinquent. Even though the number has shrunk substantially, we still want to make sure that we don't settle for that and that we bring up to par as many of these delinquent accounts as we can. for that, one of the things that we began to do was once again reiterate that there are two opportunities in which there are relief monies for folks in our city that may be in that situation. So once again, we're pushing for that. With that said, I just want to just reiterate that as it pertains to that, we had a strategic planning workshop on July 28th. From the responses I received, not only from my staff, but from members of the community that have reached out, they were satisfied, they were pleased with the outcomes of that presentation. As a result of that, what I've told Reliance Public Relations is that I'm going to be giving a 30-day window. A 30-day window so we can make at the discretion of our community members to give additional comments if they so wish on what they saw. I think 30 days is reasonable. As soon as those 30 days close, we will be taking into consideration whatever we receive. We will put it together, we will package it, and I want to make sure that we bring back that final document for this council's consideration and adoption. That is going to allow us to hit the ground running in implementation, but always acknowledging that it's a document that as time elapses, will have to and will be updated because the dynamics of our economy, of some of the priorities are going to shift, and we know that. But at a minimum, I want to make sure that this council has an adopted plan that we as staff can implement and we can move forward with. Mayor Moreno, at this time, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Figueroa. Any comments, questions? No?
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to City Council comments and reports of meetings attended. Ladies first.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to thank Mayor Javier Moreno and Mr. Miguel Figueroa for their interest and support in the Recreation Department's senior program. And July 9, I meet with Dr. Adolf Edward. He is the director of the hospital in El Centro. And he is very, very interested for working together in this program, Mayor. And thank you again. And I would like to tell the public news that our President Biden to give $100. Anyone who gets vaccinated, and I asked Supervisor Eduardo Escobar about this matter, but and he will give news very soon, maybe the next week. Okay, that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Romo. Mr. Araya?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have a couple of announcements. Two of them for the public that you might have heard in my last comunicado. It's as the COVID, there's a national conversation on COVID and evictions going on a national level. I think it is important to remind the community that in the state of California, people who are tenants are still protected through September 30th. Not only are they protected from eviction through September 30th, very recently Governor Newsom approved funds to pay any unpaid rent that anyone in the state of California might have as a result of the COVID pandemic. To go ahead and access those protections, you can find information on www.housingiskey.com, or alternatively, you can go ahead and call 833-430-2122. Vaccines are important. As has been mentioned multiple times, the Delta variant is out there nationally, at least. If it hasn't hit us now, it will hit us very soon. The 99% of deaths recently from the COVID pandemic have been of unvaccinated people. The vaccine has been proven to be very effective against preventing hospitalizations and deaths. So it's very important that we get out there and get vaccinated. If you need information on where to get vaccinated, The two most reliable websites are vaccines.gov and en español, vacunas.gov. For the council, I'm very pleased with the healthy dialogues that we are having in the context of the strategic plan, in the context of the COVID money that is coming in. I also wanted to go ahead and let the public know and let Mayor Moreno and Ms. Romo know that two students from Calexico that went ahead to the University of California. One of them went to University of California, Los Angeles, and the other one is studying at UC Santa Cruz. They're both Calexico Bulldogs. Both of them separately are going to be helping the city of Calexico with our climate or environmental plans as we come back and then eventually discuss in more detail the climate action plan. Myself and Mayor Pro Tem Garcia will be working with the student from UCLA to see what kind of resources we can bring to our city as far as environmental projects. And separately, myself and Councilwoman Romo will be working with Alejandra Herrera from UC Santa Cruz to see how we can reduce solid waste and have more environmentally business policies here in the city of Calexico. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Araña. Mr. Garcia?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I won't go too much into detail about these meetings attended. I will let the mayor cover this, but we had a chance to meet both with outgoing Mayor Lupita Mora from Mexicali and also incoming Mayor La Maestra Bustamante. So I know Mr. Moreno will expand on that. Then also, just to go back to the report from the city manager, Mr. Figueroa, so that's great with the ARPA monies, you know, the additional money that we're able to get from the initial amount that we were told that the city was going to get. So that's great. And I think, you know, also going back to the strategic planning presentation that we had, you know, just last week, I think that was a very healthy conversation, very enlightening also feedback from the community, you know, just to hear from, you know, 400 individuals. I think, you know, some of us, or all of us that are engaging in getting feedback from the public, I think that was great. Even though our population is a little bit over 40,000, I think getting a response of 400, I think it was great. The feedback was also, you know, great. And I think, you know, if we can just go back and use some of that feedback, and within the guidelines, of course, you know, of the ARPA monies, maybe that could be also our guide, you know, to really think about some of the things or some of the projects that we can fund or we can work with, because that's what the people are asking. I think they provided clear direction, clear, you know, wish, you know, as to how they feel about their, you know, city institutions, about their services that they're being provided. So that should be our guiding star. You know, in planning for these monies, and then also if we're going to continue to engage with Reliance Communications, maybe we can continue to have those conversations. So just as an FYI. Then also, I want to also invite, you know, I know that Lieutenant Serrano is here, that maybe we can start planning, I know it's still hot, but if we can start planning maybe a graffiti abatement. I know that's something that we were planning right before COVID. You know, unfortunately, we couldn't, you know, have that event take place. I know that a lot of, you know, properties are private properties that are tagged, that are need to be that are needing cleanup. But nonetheless, you know, it's Calexico. You know, we'll deal with those issues later on as to who pays on who's responsible for that. But I think we need to organize. I think there was already some of the resources needed to hold that event. So maybe we can go back, Lieutenant Serrano, and revisit that, you know, event that was planned. I know that I have gotten interest from community members that would like to participate. So when it's appropriate, but something to think about, because as I shared with City Manager Figueroa, a lot of that is on our entrance and exits of our city, and regardless of where there needs to be a cleanup. I think everywhere needs a cleanup. So, but let's just start with something. Let's see how we can make that happen. I know we have to take care of, the guidelines with COVID, with, weather, the temperatures that we're experiencing right now, but, maybe in the near future, so we can work on that.
Yes, definitely. If we could meet probably next week and figure out what are the logistics that we're going to need to provide that nursing service to the community.
Sure. Thank you. That's all my report.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. So here's my update. I continue to meet with our citizens in my office here, the mayor's office, and this past week, actually since our last meeting, I met with about six citizens, and I do keep a log of that. It's important we keep a log of that because so we can not only keep record of that, but who these people are, what part of Calexico they are, who they represent. It's very interesting to sit down and dialogue with people because they all have concerns, and we're going through this pandemic, and legitimate so, right? And so we might make sure that we provide the services. Some of those issues that were brought up in our meeting were immediately addressed, and I thank Mr. Figueroa because I call him on the phone, he gets over there, and we take care of it, which is perfect. That's what it's for. And like I tell people, this is your city hall. All doors are open. We're open for business. Come over. It's your city hall. And it's important that you understand what we do here. And also, we hold accountable to you people. And if you're not dialoguing, then how are we going to know we're making progress or not making progress? So for me, it's a very good experience. And I'm honored to serve as mayor in that capacity and hear the citizens what their perspective is of us up here, right? So I thank those people that are watching here tonight. Well, thank you again. And please pass the word out. We're open for business. The other thing also was I attended two meetings. One of the meetings was set up by Mr. Figueroa with the outgoing mayor from Mexicali, Lupita Mora. It was very interesting. We also met today, as a matter of fact, I met with the mayor-elect, Norma Bustamantes. It's interesting because on one side we have an ongoing, but on this side we have somebody who's already elected. So putting the two perspectives is very important in this terms, is what have we done as a city to still bridge that gap? Because we have what we call a fence, but what it separates is a stupid fence, right? Because it is. Because we're dealing with the same problems. What they deal over there, we deal over here. So it transcends. The fence doesn't mean anything. So it's important that we continue that. And we did mention that issue with, you did mention that issue with the strategic planning where we had those citizens call in and we were surprised that they say we're doing a good job. And we're still connecting with Mexicali. As you all know, anybody who lives in Calexico for all their life is every Friday we go to Mexicali. We have relatives over there. And so to listen to somebody who's leaving who's been in office to saying we're doing a good job, but we need to do more, that connection because of COVID has really put an impact. It's very enlightening for me. Obviously, we talked about the pandemic, we talked about COVID-19, we talked about more vaccinations need to be done, we need to be more actively involved with that as a municipality. We also talked about economic development. We go to downtown, it's a ghost town. All those things that impact our well-being here in Calexico, we talked about during the meeting. The other hand, we went today, we met with the mayor-elect, and interesting to hear her perspective of what Calexico was, and really, really looking forward to working with the municipality. I believe we did have at one point, and an understanding a while back, Mr. Figueroa. I believe that it's time to work on something like that.
Absolutely, and I think right now, just giving, I would just say that if there's anything that we can take from those meetings is we have synergy. I think both cities are sharing the same needs, the same issues, and I think we're meeting eye to eye on how they're looking to address and what we're planning already on our end. So with that said, we're looking to revamp something that was initially discussed a couple of years ago, solidify that, and make sure that we put in writing tangible things that we can actually accomplish in the short run. So please expect members of the council, members of the community, in the very, very near future, and by near future I mean in the coming weeks, updates on what the mayor is sharing, because we're ready to hit the ground running.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Figueroa. Just for the record, today was just an unofficial, nothing was discussed, no deals were made. It was just get to know each other, who we were, our backgrounds, what are we made of, what do we think about Calexico? We're, those things. It was very unofficial, but very, very, very enlightening for me to know who our new mayor of Mexicali is going to be working with in the near future.
Mr. Mayor, would you mind sharing also that we were joined by our neighbors from the Mexican consulate?
Yes, thank you for reminding me that. Yes, we did had an opportunity to invite our consulate, Navarrete, and Dinatu, is he acting, right? Going with us. They went with us, so just for them being at the table and be able to dialogue that they also have, like they say, they have over 14,000 citizens that live over there because it's more affordable in Mexico. But there are citizens and they're essential workers. They cross on a daily basis. Calexico is a conduit for that. We do have also students. We have field workers. We have essential workers in general, and we have the retirees. So interesting to say how they're also helping them through their programs, what's called Ventanilla de Salud, which they have, I believe, two programs, but they're going to enhance it with an additional program now with the COVID-19. So for us, I'm looking forward to working with Mexicali, working with the consulate, and working with this consulate here, right? Working hand in hand to address those issues that have great impact, whether it's health. As we know, a pandemic, people who got poor were poorer, people who got sick got sicker, and some even passed away. So I'm really looking forward to work with the council here now moving forward. So thank you. That's my announcement. Moving forward, we have the consent agenda. All matters listed on the consent agenda calendar are to be considered routine by the City of Calexico, Community Redevelopment Agency, Successor Agency, or Calexico Finance Authority, and will be enacted one motion in the form listed. Any item may be removed from the consent calendar and considered separately by the City Council. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So move.
Second.
Second, Mr. Ureña. All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, for all unanimously, motion carried. Thank you. We're now moving up to discussion and potential action items. The first one is authorization of out-of-town travel for Mayor Moreno to attend the 89th annual meeting of the United States Conference of Mayors, August 31st to September the 4th, 2021 in Austin, Texas. Anybody make a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
One second.
Second, all those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried 4-0. Thank you. The next item, number 7, designation of voting delegate and alternate for the 2021 League of California Cities Annual Conference and Expo, September 22-24. That should be 2021. In Sacramento, California. Anybody make a motion to approve?
Is the designation made by the mayor?
Designation the delegate. Where is-
Who designates, the council or yourself as mayor?
Well, yeah, thank you. So I'm the mayor, I preside, and if for whatever reason I'm unavailable, then
So
the mayor pro tem
I will be one of
takes
the
over.
alternates.
With the alternate, but we need an alternate, a third one.
Okay.
So I would make a motion. Mr. Figueroa?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I think if I'm hearing correctly, you would be the voting delegate.
Right,
If I heard correctly, an alternate would be the mayor pro tem.
right.
And there would be the designation of a second alternate that would be needed.
Correct.
So we need one more.
Then, what then? Well, we need a third one, so we need to motion who that person is going to be. So I will make a motion to make that third alternate, Councilwoman Rosie Fernandez. Yes.
Motion include the mayor as the voting
Okay, so any second?
Second.
Okay, so discussion? No? All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, 4-0.
Mayor, I think you need to ask public comments.
Public comment and what I
On all issues.
So but the public comments are done, we're done with.
No, the thing is that we have not received any public comment requests for the items. I think that's
Right.
what you're alluding to.
And
Right.
you don't
City
have one?
Clerk, do we have any public comments?
No. I'm sorry, Mr. Gonzalez, thank you. Appointment by Mayor Moreno and Councilmember Romo to the Sales Tax Citizen Advisory Committee, Measure H. We did have one,
do
actually we have two now.
is Alma Castro and what is the other one? Crista?
No,
Griselda.
Griselda Herrera, you want to make a motion, Mr. Romo?
I have a motion to approve
Both?
Griselda Herrera and Alma Castro?
Yeah, those are the only ones we have, correct? Right.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 4-0. Thank you very much. Motion
Yeah,
carried.
just quick comment on that item. Can we just specify who's appointing which individual?
The individual? Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'll appoint Griselda
I have a motion to approve
Alma Castro.
Alma Castro. For Alma Castro, for...
Don't we have a comic?
Griselda is going to be
Right,
mayor,
clear?
and
And,
Alma Castro is going to be...
and Herrera for the mayor.
Maybe I'm a little bit confused. So you need to submit a paper to comment on every issue?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. And if you know, back in the room, there'd be a comment card.
It's just that another
Okay.
meeting, before they go, they have to public.
We haven't had in-person meetings in a long time. That's probably the confusion. But I mean, I think if you the item's still open. If you want to comment, I think it's the opportunity. But just since we haven't had in-person meetings in a while, I think we've all kind of forgotten the process. There are comment cards in the back, and you can fill them out and designate which items you want to comment on, and that way those get turned in the city clerk. The city clerk will then make
I
a
understand
list,
that
and when the
something,
items come forward,
Someone says something, and something pops up, you want to say something.
Yeah, no.
Anyway, how long are these commissions, are they meeting monthly or?
What was that again, Mr. Gonzalez? What's that?
Are these commissions meeting monthly or?
What commission?
This is the Measure H commission, isn't it?
The Metro H Commission?
Wait, let me write,
They meet quarterly. The Metro H Committee meets quarterly, commission.
it's, is that Measure H commission?
Yes.
Quarterly?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to item number 9, appointment by City Council of 2 General Commissioners to the Housing Authority Board. Ms. Romo?
I have motion to approve two Commissioners Arturo Rioseco and Ismael Lopez.
Okay. Yes?
We do need to make us, to state which appointment they're going for. We have one term that ended, and that is a 4-year term. And then we have one term due to a resignation by Mr. Santillan, and that one is going to complete his term, which will end September 3rd, 2023.
Okay, so Ms. Romo, which one do you appoint your motion?
Appointment for Mr. Arturo Rioseco for General Commission for 4 years term.
Okay.
And Ismael Lopez, appointment General Commission for a term to complete for Mr. Santillan term. This is my motion.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, second by Mr. Ureña. All those in favor?
Aye.
4-0, thank you very much. Future item for agenda items?
Mayor, just for the record, part of my city manager's report, I brought to the attention of the council updates on some items that were requested. As part of my report, I plan to bring those back on the 18th as we and staff and myself and staff continue to work on. Just for the record, I want to make sure that any future agenda item you've requested will make it to the agenda. So I just want to point that out.
I just have a comment to my cohorts here. I believe Mr. Figueroa is doing an excellent job. He's fulfilled every request, I think. He's had mine. I'm sure that's yours. Ms. Romo, as well as you, right? Any requests that we had him for future agenda items?
Oh, not at this moment.
Okay. I don't have anything. Do you have anything, Mr. Romo?
Then it's future agenda?
Yes. Is possible the invitation at, what is the name for the health department, director? Health department?
Janet?
Janet Angulo?
Yes, in our meeting, for the next meeting?
I can extend an invitation, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Because it's very important information for all situation
Okay.
for COVID, yeah. And Delta.
Okay.
Thank you. That's it.
Mr. Garcia?
I don't have
No, I don't have anything. Okay, so that adjourns our meeting. It is 7:55. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening.